Hello everyone, welcome back. Welcome back to my channel. Let me just make sure I'm recording. Okay, good. So it's been about a week since I've uploaded anything. I just wanted to kind of poke my head in real quick and just kind of give you an update. So, so I had my baby, okay? He was born on February 21st at 8:58 p.m. And so now that I said that, videos might slow down for a little bit, but I just got to go over every single thing that happened leading up to it and after. Because, first of all, okay, my wife went to the ER a while ago saying, she was leaking. So they determined that she had a high leak in her amniotic fluid. So, which doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. So what they told her, they said, everything's fine. Your baby has plenty of fluid. Just go home and relax. And at that point, we were 36 weeks and 2 days. Or we were 2 days away from being 37 weeks. So Sunday, the 19th, or no, the 20th. Okay, so the 20th, wife was having some difficulties in her face. She was having what is called, numbness. She was having a hard time with a portion of her mouth and her eyes, which was very alarming to me. So what we did was we drove to the ER, immediately got seen, and it was so hectic. So, the first thing they do, they don't even check us in the emergency room. They take us straight on back, get her hooked up to all the things. They put the stress test on her for the baby. Baby's doing good. But then her blood pressure's crazy high. So what did they do? They had to stat flight her from our hometown hospital to a larger city. And when they told me that, because of the partial numbness in her face, they couldn't rule the risk of stroke out. And, that just fucked me up. Just absolutely messed me up. So when they tell me that she's being stat flown from this hospital to a bigger hospital equipped to handle this type of stuff, my heart sunk. You know what I'm saying? It was just so hectic, so chaotic. And anyway, so the hospital, it was like a 10-minute flight for them, and it was almost like a 40-minute drive for me. So what I did was I hopped in my vehicle and I hauled ass. And I had the emergency lights on, passing semis, trying to get there as fast as I can. Finally I get there. They won't even let me back yet because they haven't even got her checked in. They just rushed her back to get an MRI done. And it was so unbelievably frustrating that nobody could tell me nothing while I was there. It was just quite a pain in the ass. Nobody would help me. Nobody would tell me nothing. They would just say, oh, she's not back yet. She's not here yet. You gotta wait. You gotta wait. You gotta wait. Okay, perfect. I'm glad I hauled so much ass just to wait. And yeah. Hold on, my phone is dying. Dang it. There we go. Anyway, finally, after they, after she does the MRI, it's probably been about 15-20 minutes now. My wife calls me. She says, hey, I'm on my way up to the 3rd floor in labor and delivery. Come and meet me there. So I finally head up there. I get in the room, and I'm trying to rush to get to her room, and I walk in, And, she's telling me about this terrible flight she had and how crazy it was for her. And she's telling me all this stuff. And I'm like, hey, how are you? How's the baby? Everything's fine. Everything's good. We're still waiting on results. And then probably not even 15 minutes after I got there and we started talking, the nurse comes in and says, yeah, okay, so we're going to induce you. So then my heart sank again. It was just like, holy shit. I thought we had a little bit longer. But we didn't. So they induced her that night at probably, I think it was midnight. It was midnight, Monday morning. It was on the dot, midnight, when they induced her. And the thing the little, I forget what I forget what it's called. It's like a tampon they shove up you and induce you that way. Well, that ended up causing my wife's contractions to happen so fast that our baby wasn't getting time to rest. So they had to pull it out, and they put her on, finally, after a while, after that started happening, they put her on the Pitocin drip, and to help with her, contractions, help speed them up and that kind of thing, kind of speed along the, the induction. So, man, it's crazy to even talk about it. I'm trying to recall everything that happened in order. But, so of course, it's midnight. We're waiting for hours. What they end up doing is they gave my wife Stadol. She was able to get some rest overnight. And then, so we spent, I think it was basically, we slept all through, we got a couple of hours of sleep Monday while we were in the Monday morning, like way early in the day. Like, I think I didn't, from like 3 to 5, we got some sleep. And then probably around 7, they come in and, try to help my wife get some relief because she was in pain. So it wasn't until later on that day, where they'd already put her on the Pitocin drip. She's been having contraction all day, like killing her, like in so much pain. So, in the middle of the day, she finally gets an epidural, right? So the anesthesiologist comes in to do the epidural, and what ends up happening is they didn't do it right. It didn't go in properly, and my wife's blood pressure, or like her heart rate, dropped next to nothing, and so did the baby's, and that was scary. Everybody rushed in. They injected her, or they threw her IV. They gave her medicine, which brought it back up, and my wife basically went into shock, and it was so terrifying. So terrifying. So, anyway, after they got her heart rate up, the epidural took effect for a couple of hours, and then it quit working. So, they ended up pulling it out. A couple of hours later, by this time, it's probably later on in the afternoon. It's probably about 5 in the afternoon at this point. They try to do another epidural. And this time it works from about 5 to 7 in the afternoon. So the second one failed too. Didn't work. It wore off. And at this point, her contractions are absolutely astronomical. They're killing her. And gave her some more Stadol, but that only worked for a certain period of time. And then at a certain point, they just came in and they basically said, look, your epidural didn't work. Both of them, they didn't work. You're at a point where you're getting close to having to deliver, and we can't give you any more Stadol because we don't want the baby to come out drugged up. So it was at that point where we realized, like, hey, this birth that we wanted to not be natural, we wanted it to be, we wanted to have a little relief for her, ended up becoming natural. And that was crazy. At this point, if you've ever been in this position where you see your wife struggling like that in so much pain, excruciating pain, and knowing there's not a thing that you can do to help, it is weakening. It is it's a struggle to watch. It's heartbreaking, to say the least. So at this point, they keep coming back, in and out from like 5 to 7. They just keep coming in and out, trying to check her cervix and see how dilated she was. And because we stayed at a 1 for the longest time, 1 centimeter. And then, like, hours after they induced her, she finally got to a 2. But it wasn't until late in the afternoon where we went from a 6 to a 10 in a matter of like 30 minutes. And, like, I'm telling you what, like, at 5 o'clock, we were at like a 2. At 7 o'clock, we were a 6. And around 8 o'clock, we were a 10, and we were in active, like, we were delivering. And at 8:58, he was born. And it was hectic. It was beautiful, but not necessarily your everyday delivery. When we went to the hospital the first time, that Sunday night, I had no, we brought stuff just in case, like, hey, maybe we might be having a baby. I doubt it, but whatever. We weren't really that prepared because I was not expecting to be told, like, oh, hey, by the way, yeah, that baby is, going to be here in like a couple hours. I was like, oh, okay, it's really happening. Okay. So, yeah. So after the delivery, our poor baby, he comes out beautiful as ever, and looking good, looks just like me. It was crazy. But we get, after we do the labor and delivery process, they move us from the labor and delivery room to the postpartum room, where they check his sugar, and his sugar level was low. And there for a couple of hours, they did the glucose gel and a feeding, and his sugar just was not picking up. So unfortunately, probably Tuesday morning, early into because we gave birth at 8:58, and it was probably like midnight or later by the time we got into the postpartum room. And then he was taken to the newborn intensive care unit, where he stayed for a couple of days until he until his sugar levels came up. That was hard. I know, and I kept having to tell my wife, like, hey, by the way, we need to count our blessings because there's people that spend forever in the NICU. And we were lucky enough to only spend a few days there. And I'm very thankful for that. Still sucks, nonetheless. I mean, to that day, because we were there for like, basically 2 days. And then we were discharged. And he was there an extra 2 days. And our second day, the day we were discharged, it's that weird feeling of like, hey, we're gonna have to go home But he's going to be here. We're going to go home without our baby, dude. Like, what the hell? Sucks. But once again, you know, just like I said, could have been worse. Very thankful for everything. Healthy baby now and healthy wife. But after the birth, that's when they come back and told her that she had Bell's palsy. And that's why she had some partial numbing in her face. So, can't catch a break. Anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I'm glad you popped your head in. I'm glad my son popped his head out. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.